In 2025, Mojang paid special attention across several drops to the deserts, mounts, and weapons, as you can clearly see, but in 2026, a revolution in updates is coming that has already begun, but what will we see? So if 2025 changed the graphics of the game entirely, what is going to come in 2026, and will Bedrock finally be fixed? Well, hello, I'm AbbyX Toycat, and I intend to not just blindly speculate, but instead look at the evidence we actually have, and look at what that means we are likely to receive from Mojang's long-term initiatives, which they've spoken about and actually delivered many of. Well, let's go into this today. By the way, you can subscribe if you want to see more of these, and check out the IBX Toycat Creo card. It is a collectible that will be hand-signed by me, and this is something that fewer than 1,000 copies will exist of. Make sure to get yours now while you still can, but let's get started with the most important thing here, because I think Minecraft's long-term initiatives are the most exciting thing about the move from updates to drops. Previously, everything that Mojang worked on in a year made its way into that year's drop, but now instead we see every 3 months a brand new drop hits Minecraft, and that doesn't necessarily include everything inside of it. So the evidence that we have comes down to basically 3 points that we know about what Mojang will do in 2026. The first is that every one of these drops includes brand new content. We've seen that happen for the last 5 drops in a row. There's always going to be brand new stuff, but specifically it will be added, and the changes are the things that take a far longer amount of time. Keep this in mind. Adding, they came up with the idea of copper armor and tools, tested them, bug fixed them, and then released them within 3 months. But at the same time, changing things, like changing iron to balance it, wasn't something they did. Also, they went from having the idea of having a new mount drop to having a parched, tested, released, and out there, but they didn't bother adding it to the trial chamber, despite it fitting perfectly, because updating existing content to work with old content is much harder than simply adding new content. Okay, that's crucial, because now it means that if they want to change content, it will take much longer, and this matches what we've seen from Minecraft's experiments. I could beat the horse about this forever, but to be as quick as possible, Mojang are actively testing changes to the minecarts right now. You can make them go up to 100 times faster, which leads to lots of silly social media clips you've probably seen, but also they are testing changes to combat. I'd say testing, the last one was 5 years ago at this point, but Mojang has been testing out the combat snapshots. Jeb in particular was working on this, and then Olaf took over, but lots of different people inside Mojang are working on changing the combat system entirely so that they can have a better Java system, but also finally have new combat on Bedrock. It's been 9 years now. That is something that they are working on, but it is very slow, and also they were looking to change Redstone and also villager trading, but these two haven't been spoken about in as long. So basically, if Mojang are going to finally release something after a long time, like they did with Vibrant Visuals, which took like 3 or 4 years, I think 2 easy candidates would be a minecart or a combat update, and I think that either of these would qualify as being a long-term initiative, given that they've both now been in progress for years, and they presumably want them to be perfect before they roll them out. The same is also true for Redstone or villager trading. It's just less likely, because here's the deal, it seems as though drops now, again just based on the pattern Mojang has put out there, drops are about adding content, and some drops also have the longer term initiatives. So what, which is basically the thing that takes far longer. And so what long-term initiatives are Mojang working on? Well, just looking at 2025, I would say that the 4 big ones that we could easily look at is native PlayStation 5 Minecraft, Vibrant Visuals, 2 brand new featured servers, and also what Mojang are broadly referring to as social options. There is a new social tab, the server thing you can point to as well, but also there is a locator bar in the game, and also if you play Bedrock, you get blessed of the fact that you get to see your friend's world above your own, which is definitely not frustrating and definitely very cool. Everyone loves it all of the time. Look, here's Prow being asked to join my world instead of playing his own. Isn't that nice? I could have made a friend. But anyway, the most important thing is the fact that, yeah, you actually are now being heavily encouraged to play multiplayer, and this is a long-term initiative with questionable value, I guess we could say, but that is what we have seen from 2025, and so what will we see in 2026? Well, I think that the safe bets are where we'll start with this, because we will see more drops. I would expect, based on the seasonal pattern they've been following for 6 drops in a row now, that we will see 4 drops, and each of those drops will include blocks, mobs, and maybe biomes. If you want to make a very safe bet, I would say those are the only things you can say with 100% certainty, and they're going to be simple things that would be very exciting to new players, stuff like the new pig models that we saw, stuff like the Happy Ghast, the sorts of things that allow Mojang to promote the game. And so I would definitely expect to see a new wood type. I'd expect to see a new block set, for example, maybe calcite, maybe frozen ice. I think that there are lots of different possibilities, but I think they all point to a bunch of new content. And, you know, although I've seen lots of ideas about new armor sets or whatever, I think that just new block sets that are exciting is the easiest thing to bet, with the next easiest thing to bet probably being more social features, more ways to play with friends, more ways to be encouraged to play with friends, more ways to play on different platforms in different ways. And I even think I'd go further and say that we might even see more Minecraft sales. This is something that they will have to have their own data on, but Minecraft has been running a lot of sales on their Minecraft shop, and you know, I've literally been getting an email every day about how they're on some form of sale for the last 2 months now, and now they're running a sale on the game itself. This is classic behavior. If you want to sell more of something, reduce the price. Is this what we'll be seeing pushed in 2026? Well, that is the last safe bet I think we can make. Now I want to move into the slightly less safe bets that I still think are likely. Again, on this channel, even though there are lots of things I would love to see, I tend to talk about what I think you will actually see, because I think that's more useful, and we have made lots of correct predictions. I'll be honest, the cave update was one that I got solely because I wanted to see it bad enough, but as far as lots of other predictions we've made, they have come true. And so what do I think that you can see in 2026? Well, I think that, yeah, we are very likely to see a combat update. Mojang have been tweaking around the edges forever, and at this point it must be exhausting for them to introduce a spear, basically with a new combat system, but then not have the rest of the game match it. And so what do I think we'll see? Brand new combat. I think that means brand new enchantments for axes to allow them to get through shields better. I think that means we'll see a different delay system than we currently have in Java. I think that means we'll see stackable potions, but I think a brand new combat update is likely. But I will also concede, I've been saying that for 3 years in a row now. I mean, a broken calendar is right once every 7 or 8 years or so. Anyway, the important thing is that, like, theoretically, maybe that's right. And so I also think that a minecart update is likely, but it seems as though we haven't heard anything about it. So I imagine they have something big planned for that. I also think they have something big planned for the Ancient City portal, but we won't see it in 2026. Come back here and call me an idiot if somehow we do see the Ancient City, but I think that outside of that, it's likely we see at least some part of Minecraft get a fundamental update. In the same way that we saw them come to the graphics of the game and go through it in a massive way, I think it's likely that we see them take over some system, be that XP and enchanting. I think it's overdue. I think enchantment's got a small little buff here or there in 2025. We got the brand new lunge enchantment, and I think that therefore more enchantments, more ways to enchant, more fun ways to enchant with XP would be cool, and I also think that brewing would be pretty fun too. We saw them change all of the potion colors just a year and a bit ago, and we haven't really seen them do much else with the brewing stand since it was introduced. Literally the only change I can think of, besides a couple of new potions, is that, which to be fair, we did get more in the Tricky Trials update too, but outside of the new potions, it's requiring it to use blaze powder, which means that you can't brew potions without having gone to the Nether now. This is the only change that I think we can really point to, and so does brewing need an update? Of course it does, but I think the big one that I would genuinely be optimistic about is going for a dimensional update. You see, Mojang aren't idiots. I mean, sometimes a lot of people pretend that they are, but I think that people believe that Mojang are idiots, and I don't think that that applies to what they want to do with the game, and I think that an end update isn't just something that, you know, the community wants. I think it's something Mojang wants to do as well. In the same way that the Caves and Cliffs update was meant to be hype, but rip COVID, I think that the end update could be the major way for them to get out of their current situation and to get more people on board with drops. Imagine if in, say, March, we get a pretty decently sized drop with a new type of wood, and then in June there is an entire end update. The reason I think this is likely is because lots of different Minecraft developers work on different projects, and we haven't seen certain things from quite a few Minecraft developers, and so either they're working on behind the scenes monetization changes, that is going to happen too, or they're working on an end update. I know, bold claim, but I do really think that if Mojang needs that big push from the community, that big wave of hype on the internet, all they need to do is release the end update, and so will they. Well, also they need to release the Switch 2 update. But those are the last of my likely picks for 2026. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to check out the IBX Toycat Creo card, and consider subscribing to see more Minecraft news, because I'll see you next time. Goodbye!